Coach, if you've got anything to say up front, we'd like you to make an opening statement.
Yeah, we're obviously really excited to be here. What we accomplished at Buffalo, winning our conference tournament and getting a chance to play in the NCAAs for the first time in school history. So just thrilled to be a part of the NCAA tournament, and our players are soaking it all in and enjoying it, and we've had a few good practices and feel good about where we are and how we're playing right now at this time of year after winning 8 straight games. Haven't lost in a month, so I feel great coming into this.
Okay, again, identify yourself and your affiliation the first time around. On the left.
Hey Coach, Sean Stepner, WKBW, ABC Channel 7 in Buffalo. Every time you mention the words NCAA tournament, there's a kind of like a grin or a smile that comes to your face. How does it feel to be back in it as a coach right now? How does it differ than a player? I know we haven't played the game yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for my players because I know what they sacrifice and what they go through and how hard they've worked to get here. And we've had some peaks and valleys this year and had some difficult times that we've overcome. And I know what it feels like, the excitement, the memories that you take from playing in this tournament. And I'm glad that my players get to enjoy that and experience it.
Coach, on our right side here.
Rob Rossi, Tribune Review in Pittsburgh. Bobby, when you were a player going into your first tournament game, how long did it take the advice you were given by people who were telling you what to expect to actually be applicable compared to the environment, any nerves? And was it something that clicked right away for you as a player?
I grew up with the NCAA tournament. I watched, Jordan hit the shot and Villanova beat Georgetown, NC State beat Houston. Those were my childhood memories. So for me, it was trying to calm down. And so I'm going to try and be as composed and as calm with my team as possible. I know that motivation to play is not going to be something that I'm concerned about. And so we'll try and, just try and keep their emotions in check. And I don't want them to feel uptight or play uptight because that's, we're a very good offensive team in our league, one of the best offensive teams, and we play very fast. And, I want them to have fun playing and not feel like it's any different than any other game as much as I possibly can with them.
Coach, in the back on the left.
Coach Mitch Vingle from the Charleston Gazette. I know you went against Coach Huggins when you were in the tournament that year when he took a team to the Final Four. What have you known about Coach Huggins throughout your career playing and now coaching, and what do you see of him in this team that you guys are facing?
Well, I obviously have a ton of respect for all he's accomplished, and I've enjoyed watching his teams play because I respect teams that play defense and that are tough, and his teams reflect that. Their team this year, I don't know if there's a team that gets after it any harder on the defensive end with their pressure and how physical they are and how they rebound. So that's a great formula for winning a lot of basketball games, and they don't stop. They keep coming at you for 40 minutes, and they've been in a great league, and they've made some really good teams in that league look average this year. So we have our work cut out for us.
In the front on our right here.
Jim Donaldson, Providence Journal. So Bobby, what was it like those years that you spent on the bench with Danny? And I say this with a smile on my face. What, if anything, did you learn from him?
Well, I mean, Dan gave me a great opportunity, and it was a chance for he and I to spend a lot of time together. Two guys that are very close. We got a close relationship. He built a high school program, St. Benedict's, and turned it into one of the best in the country. And then he wanted to make a move to the college game, and I just watched him. I just saw how he conducted his practices, how he recruited, how he built the program, and he allowed me to have a voice, and we worked very closely together. And we're still constantly in communication, almost daily during the season about our teams. So it was special for me to have the opportunity to work for him. I don't think I would be in this position if I didn't have that chance.
On the second row left.
Coach Steve Easy from WIVB. How much of an advantage is it for you guys that you don't need to have that one go-to scorer, that you have so many guys who can pick up the scoring slack if somebody has an off game, or if even two guys have an off game?
Yeah, I think we have pretty good balance on offense, and things usually start with Justin Moss and his physicality inside and his versatility to score inside and out, and then our guards are kind of unpredictable in how they attack, and are very good off the bounce, trying to create offense for us. So we try and we have an 8-man rotation, so we're obviously not as deep as West Virginia, but we do have guys that are capable of making plays at a number of positions.
Okay, back on the right side, fourth row.
Coach, back to your brother Dan for a moment from WPRI in Providence. Any family bragging rights, friendly bragging rights over your brother getting to the dance first?
Not really. It was one of the hardest conversations I had, like this year, with him after we won the MAC championship Saturday night, and before we played, we tipped off at 7:30. I knew that they had lost a close game to Dayton, and that probably meant they weren't going to get in the NCAA tournament. So that was affecting me. I was thinking about that, and then afterwards to talk to Dan, knowing how disappointed he was that they were so close and on the verge of getting in the field and then just not making it. I was so excited for Buffalo and our players and the whole deal, but a big part of me was, obviously upset and disappointed for him.
Left side on the aisle.
Hey, Bobby, Jonah Javad with WGRZ in Buffalo. How's it going?
Good.
We spoke briefly a couple days ago about your message to the team. What have you told them over the last couple of days in preparation for tomorrow's game?
Just to try and stay focused on, not listening to what people are saying and, who's projecting what to happen in the game, and just stay consistent to our message and what we're talking about. I also want them to have fun with this. I mean, they put in so much work to get to this point, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and to soak it in and have as much fun with it as possible, but be able to flip the switch, and when it's time to work, when it's time to prepare, we're preparing, and then when the ball goes up, we got to play fearlessly like we have the last month of the season.
Okay, on the right here in front, Rusty.
Rusty Miller, AP. Just a quick question, first of all. Justin Moss, what's his availability?
We've been fortunate this week. Last week we were under the gun with Justin, and he was somewhat limited in our semifinal game, and he made a big improvement in the final, and we were able to play him more minutes. He got a double-double in that game. We monitored him very carefully this year. We managed his repetitions carefully. He's getting close to 100%, and he'll obviously be out on the floor today and in our open practice. And I would think by tomorrow that he's going to be very close to being himself.
One more quick question. You've played a couple of heavyweights in Kentucky and Wisconsin. Could you kind of compare and contrast the task you've got at hand now with what you faced with those two?
Well, West Virginia is going to present every bit the same challenge that those two teams presented. They're different, but they do certain things well that above anyone else in the country. Turning teams over, offensive rebounding, their physicality and their depth. And the other thing is they take you out of offense. They don't really always let you run your offense because of how aggressively they trap. So we practiced a number of different things this week just to try and prepare for that. But they're that type of physical team, like Kentucky was, like Wisconsin was, and they're obviously one of the best teams in the country.
Okay, in the middle on the aisle.
Don Marcus from the Baltimore Sun. In terms of the way the game has evolved since you played it, is there any more premium on guard play than there was back in the 90s? And if so, what's the biggest difference in terms of in the tournament?
I mean, I don't think a whole lot has changed in that regard. I mean, it's always key, when your season's on the line to have the right guys making decisions for you and making plays for you to extend your season. As a coach, you go into a game where everything's on the line, and if you have players that you trust at those positions with the ball in their hands, creating and making plays, then you're going to have a good chance to win and advance. I feel great about our guard play, even though were really young, starting a freshman, Lamonte Beard and Shannon Evans, a sophomore. Those two guys have been through the wars, in our league, and are both very productive. Shannon is a dynamic guard that could score and plays with great energy. I mean, I can never play at the pace and the energy that kid plays at. It's amazing. And then Lamonte, for a freshman, has got such a good assist-to-turnover ratio. He's got such great instincts. He's a natural, and so I'm trusting those two guys tomorrow against West Virginia.
On our right.
Bill Rabinowitz, the Columbus Dispatch. The fact that you were ahead of Kentucky and Wisconsin at the half, what do you take from that? How much confidence does it give you, especially being a first-time team here?
Last year we lost 3 starters, and we lost the player of the year in the conference, and it was natural to assume that we would take a step back, even in our league. And in individual workouts, I just kept watching Justin Moss just destroy people in the gym, and then seeing what Shannon Evans, knowing he was going to be in a starting role this year, I knew he would take a big jump. So even though the perception outside of our program was that we were going to take a step back, I didn't think we necessarily would, and those games validated that for me. Just being in those type of games, I think prepared us to know that we could be such a good team. And as a coaching staff, I said, now, like, you showed us what you're capable of doing here, so maybe you shouldn't have done that, because now we're gonna ask for it and we're gonna demand it the rest of the way. And I think those kind of games help you for when we're playing in our conference tournament and championship game, and in this type of game, to know that we're capable of playing with those kinds of teams.
We go back to our left side.
Bobby, Zach Jackson from Fox Sports. When you got the technical 55 seconds into the game, you went on Twitter and made fun of yourself for it. But just in general, if you had that fire you bring, have you had to check that or manage that at all?
I had to. I kind of towed the line, and last year, it was just trying to figure out what I could get away with and what I can't. I think this year I've done a better job of getting my message across and then knowing when to pull back. And this is really not the setting in this tournament where that's something that I'm going to be able to do. Spend a lot of time with the officials. I know with how hard this game is going to be and how West Virginia is going to be coming after our players, that I'm going to need to be completely focused on them and helping them get through this game in any way I can.
Okay, back on our right side.
Chuck McGill, Charleston Daily Mail.
Hey, Chuck.
A lot's made of the 5 versus 12 matchup. What's your take on why the 5 is so vulnerable, or why the 12 has historically had success against the 5?
I have no idea. I keep seeing the stuff, and I have to keep reminding our players, hey, you guys are not the favorite here. West Virginia's from the Big 12, had a great season. They're the 5 seed, you're the 12, and you have a lot of people that think, that we should win this game or have selected us, and that's great. And we just, I tell our guys, if someone picks against you, use it as motivation. If someone picks you, don't listen to them, and just, stay focused on what we're doing.
Front row.
Yes, Bobby. Did you practice with 7 guys on defense at all this week? And then West Virginia's traps and watching on film, are they more very different kinds of traps than other teams, any other team you've seen?
Yes, we did practice with multiple defenders, and usually we have a guy sitting out, and we have another walk-on that doesn't travel. So, as a matter of fact, I was one of the defenders this morning. So we've been doing this a lot to try and simulate what it's going to be like, and we've talked to our players about being real physical on defense, even fouling, so that we get used to the aggressive style of defense that we're going to face. And then the traps come in a variety of different ways. They could come in the backcourt. They could come as soon as the ball is entered. And actually, before all that even happens, getting the ball in is an adventure against West Virginia because of how good they try and deny passes. And then also they'll trap as you cross half court. So it's very random. It's very unpredictable. It's hard. And those are typically the pressure defenses that are the most effective.
Right here in the middle.
Jonah Bronstein, Niagara Falls Gazette. Does coaching in your first NCAA tournament game feel anything like playing in your first NCAA tournament game, and what are you doing to prepare for that moment tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just trying to even bring myself back from the euphoria and how great I felt for our players Saturday night and for the school and the community, and then just the responsibility of all the media and to make sure that we take advantage as a school of all the exposure we can, and it's all positive. So, you know, we want to get our message out about what our program's all about, and we have a lot of good young players in the program, so we want to do that. So for me, just managing, you know, my time, I mean, I've been really scheduled out the last couple of days but find enough time to do what I need to do to prepare and get myself ready to coach the best game I could coach on Friday.
Okay, in the middle again.
Bobby, you mentioned Moss. If you go back to the Kentucky game, when Moss threw it in Cauley Stein's face, do you think that had any trickle-down effects, confidence-wise, toughness-wise?
I mean, I just think that was a signature play for us this year, and something that, I mean, I tried to get a picture of it, and I can't anywhere because I wanted to put it on our wall. We just redid our locker room. No one could find the picture. I'm amazed. You know, at UK, we just couldn't get it. But I think it shows that our players don't back down. They don't get intimidated. And that showed me a lot, how we played in that game, because it was they were playing like out of their mind at that point. You know, just they were annihilating teams. So that was the first time that someone stepped to them like that. And part of it was Justin. I think we all feed off each other. Shannon Evans, his energy, and Monte Beard, and all guys get excited for what we're doing out there on the floor.
Okay, in the back.
Rich Hurley, Justin Jackson with the Dominion Post in Morgantown. Two quick questions. One, when your playing career ended, you got away from the game for a while. Did you need that? And what got you back into the game? What got you back into coaching? And then the second question, your players have described you as intense, and I'm wondering, do you see yourself as an intense coach? Do you think you're more intense as a coach than you were as a player?
Yeah. Well, when my pro career ended, I was frustrated. I a little bit burnt out. My dad was a coach. I grew up with the game. I worked as hard as I could work to get where I had gotten playing, and it just didn't work out for me professionally. I didn't achieve anything close to what I intended on, and was very frustrated. I had a lot of injuries and things, so I wanted to do something different. I did that. I always had the itch to coach, and I understood the commitment and what it takes to coach and the time you need to invest. And I was enjoying watching my children grow up, and that was a part of it. But then, I knew I got to a point where I was either going to do it or not do it, and it all fell into place with how my brother was in a transition, and I trusted him going into a great situation with him. I knew we would do a great job together, so it all worked out. And I wish I had done it sooner, because I love doing it. The time you spend in the gym with the guys, the same competitiveness I brought to the floor as a player, I think I bring as a coach. So it replaces it, and also you feel like you're helping kids. And tournaments like this, days like this, it's worth it because my players are experiencing what they're experiencing.
Okay, we're going back to the left side.
Jonathan Snyder,
Hey, John, what's up?
Talk. Coach, Rodell's given you good minutes all year off the bench, especially defensively. But this 8-game win streak, he seems to have stepped it up on both ends, but he's scoring more, he's grabbing more rebounds, shooting 60% from the field. What is he giving you that maybe he didn't give you, or what you didn't have earlier in the year?
I think sometimes with kids, they just start to get it. Rodell's gotten it. He isn't identifying himself as being a scorer. Scoring just happens naturally as a part of the game as it's flowing with him. But at some points early in the year, he might look at his stat line and see that he had 2 points or 4 points, and that would bother him. And I think we broke through, and he's broken through to just say, you know what, I'm going to guard, I'm going to play with great energy, I'm going to rebound, and then during the course of the game, he's going to put up his numbers that he puts up. And he's been a difference maker, because we didn't have anyone like him last year on our team, and being 6'5", 215, and very physical and playing way above the rim, he adds, a different dimension to our team.
Okay, we go back to the right side, second row.
Bobby, going back to your playing days, when a player of your caliber played on this kind of stage, and yet one bad night sends you home.
Yeah.
How do the great players rise to the occasion? I mean, what was it in you and guys you played with that enabled you to succeed at this level in this one-and-done situation?
Yeah, I mean, I just said to myself, I'm not going to let my teammates down, and I obviously wasn't perfect, and I had my games that, my freshman year in the championship game, I was brutal in that one. So I wasn't always perfect, but you played with teammates that you trusted would be playing at a high level with you, and that gave you confidence to play better. You got to, so Leitner, I knew he'd be there. I knew Grant Hill was showing up, and I knew all these guys were with me, and it makes, my job easier to have the confidence of my teammates going into games like this.
Okay, we go to the left side here.
Hey, Bobby, UB's style of play.
Okay, sorry.
UB's style of play, it's up tempo, and it reminds me, I guess, of watching the Duke teams play. Do you see any of those similarities, and how is it similar or different?
I mean, Coach K impacted, my coaching philosophy in that regard. He demanded that we play defense at the highest level and get after it, and if you didn't, then you weren't playing. But on the flip side is, it enabled us to create turnovers, get out in the open court, and play an exciting style. And I enjoyed it as a player. I know my players like getting up and down the court. And, we're in the top, I guess, 25 nationally in pace of play. And, at the same time, our guys have taken care of the ball, and we're turning the ball over, at a good clip, considering we play as fast as we do. So, I feel good about how we play. I know that, as we recruit and we try and bring players into the program, they want to play in an open game, in a game that resembles what it's going to be like professionally for some of them down the road if they work and get to that point.
Okay, Tom in the middle.
Bobby, talking about Kentucky, one of your players said it was like playing against in Space Jam, and it said it would take luck. Having been in a situation like that, playing the UNLV in '91, what will it take for a team to beat Kentucky this year?
I mean, yeah, it's scary when you see it on film, and we broke it down, and we had their complete attention after like the first 30 seconds of the video, and it was just dunks and their athleticism, their length. If you allow them to set their defense against you the whole game, then you're in big trouble because there's nowhere to go on the court with their size and mobility. They're going to have to not shoot well. You're going to have to take care of the ball and not let them go on the runs that they go on during the course of the game. And then you're just going to hope that, they're just not having their best game. And you could put, what we did against UNLV, I think was, we made a statement early in the game. We jumped them like 14-4 in the first 4 minutes. And then we said, hey, we're here to play. And then we kept it a very tight game throughout. And then at the very end, we made it a one-possession game where they started feeling the pressure of the undefeated season, and then we were able to make enough plays at the end to win it.
Okay, on the right side, we have about 3 minutes left.
Hey, Coach, Bill West with the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. With this breakthrough for the program, how much of a bump do you see in recruiting, particularly in New York State?
I mean, it's exciting. We have some exciting kids coming in that will join our program that I think are going to even take it to another level. And then this is a platform to really start getting your brand out and for recruits to see your team play and how you play. And so it's important. It's not like right in the forefront of my mind right now because I'm kind of in the moment of coaching this game, but it's definitely something that's going to help our situation long term.
On our left side, over here.
Bobby, Tim Montos from the New York Post. Are any of your family members coming tomorrow? Your dad, your mom, your brother, anybody coming?
Well, my brother advanced in the NIT, beating Iona the other night, and so they'll be traveling to Stanford. So he won't be able to be there, but my mom and dad are going to be making the trip in for the game.
I saw you had a ring on. I think it might be from your first championship. I was just curious why you have it on and if you wear it all the time and why so.
I really didn't wear it last year, my first year at all, when I coached. And then when we went to Kentucky before that game, I said, I think I need something extra here. for my confidence to go into that place. And so I put it on as a subtle reminder of, like, you know, what I used to be capable of doing to try and build my confidence and boost it as much as I could for my team. And then when we played well there, I said, all right, let's just stick with it. And since then, I've worn it, you know, for every game and, you know, every road trip. I just want the kids to keep seeing it too. You know, we're getting rings too, and our athletic director, Danny White's in the back there, and you know, they now want rings that are sort of like this, you know, with the diamonds and the weight. So Dan, that's what you have to look forward to with those guys, because they've seen this now. So, what's that? This is our repeat. Yeah, the year we repeated, it's a combination of both years. Yeah, for both years. Yeah.
Okay, we go back to the corner. Elton, right there.
Well, you remember. Coach, a lot of coaches that have come up and come through this platform in the MAC have said a lot of the pressure, particularly people like you that have played at bigger colleges, said the pressure is so much different at this level to get here than it is at Duke or where.
Yeah.
Wanted to get your reaction to that. Is that true? Maybe not pressure, but just a different level of angst? And if so, what'd you go through?
It's fair. I mean, our league is so underrated. It's a great league. You know, the MAC was rated number 10 in the RPI, and you know, ahead of some other multi-bid leagues this year. So that just tells you the quality of the competition in our league. But it really came down to, for us, knowing that you know, we would have had a very difficult chance getting in that large. So we knew and felt the pressure. I felt the pressure. I tried to shield our players from feeling that as much as possible. But knowing that, I think it prepares you in a way for this moment, because we've already been in that position. Some of the other high major schools have built their resume, and even though they're going to play their conference tournament out hard, they already know they're in the field. And we weren't sure about that, and we attacked our conference tournament like you know, that was our chance to play in the tournament.
Okay, we have time for one more. We'll go right here.
Mike Casazza from the Charleston Daily Mail. Bobby, with regard to tempo on offense, that's when you're going at your best.
Yeah.
West Virginia's defense at its best really speeds teams up. What are the ways to stay in character for you guys on offense and not slow down, but also not facilitate them?
Yeah, I mean, they're so good and physical, and they're pressing, and so taking care of it, and then just having 5 guys on the same page, because it's, you know, as much as I'll say it's Shannon Evans and Lamonte Bearden's responsibility to handle pressure, you know, those 2 guys can't beat it alone. We have to all be ready to help, and we got to move the ball quick. And you know, at times we're going to have to try and beat it to score, and then if they get back properly, then we're going to have to pull it out and run some clock, and we'll do a variety of things to try and handle it. But this game comes down to more of me trusting my guys that they're going to be able to improvise and make some plays, because you know, we run a lot of set plays, and I just have a really strong feeling we're not going to be allowed to run a lot of them, and that's based on, you know, the film that I'm watching and seeing how West Virginia has played a lot of other really good teams this year.
Coach, thank you very much.